In any programming language, data type is an important core concept. And as you know, Python is dynamically typed language. It means the types are computed dynamically and you are not required to pass them. For example, let's say I have a number 10. I'm not passing any type to this num variable. By default, it is calculated dynamically. If you want to know what is the type of this variable, just type function and pass this variable in it. As you see here, so num is an integer type. Okay, so it is called dynamically typed language. Python has got various data types built in by default in these categories. For example, they have numeric types like int, float, and complex. They have text type like string. It has sequence types like list, tuple, set, mapping type like dictionary, boolean type like boolean, and binary types like bytes, byte array, memory view, etc. Now let us see what is a numeric type in Python. Python 2.x supports four built-in numeric types, and they are int, long, float, and complex. Out of these four, the long is dropped in Python 3.x, and now the int type is having unlimited length by default. Okay, so you can use int for both int and long in 3.x. The long is not no more. So let's say a is 10. Okay, if you know the type of a, just use type function and you can get a is of int type. And right now I'm using like Python version 3.x. So no matter how big number you pass, okay, it will be a int type only. There is no long type anymore. Okay, now let's declare a float type. So let's say a equal to 10.0. Now by default a is a float, and that is how this Python works. So it is a dynamically typed language. Okay, also we can have a complex type or complex number, like let's say 3.14j, and if you see the type of this variable, it is complex. Okay, now if you want to delete an object, you can use delete keyword and just type a. Okay, now the object reference is gone from the memory. If you want to use the object again, it will throw some error. The a is not defined. It is important to know how to format the float types. Okay, let's say I have this number 10. Okay, and I want to print it 10.00 or 10.00. How do you do that? So what you can do is, there is a center formatting for this kind of things. You just type F and use a single quote. In the single quote, put a curly bracket and use the variable num. Okay, with semicolon, and how many decimal points you want. That the just mention 2f. Okay, and you see here you're getting 10.00. If you do like 3f, you get 10.000. Okay, this is very important, and this is required in a lot of mathematical calculations and reportings, so you should be knowing this. Now on integer, it is important to know the casting. In general, the number types are automatically upcast in this order. The order is int, then it goes to the float, then it goes to the complex. Okay, so the further to the right you go, the higher is the precedency. And for casting, we have three kind of functions. One is int, then float, and also there is a string, str function. So let's say you want to convert something into integer. Okay, so let's say int 1.0. So 1.0 is a decimal, and you're trying to convert into integer. You use the int function, you can get 1. Okay, similarly, you can use int and pass a string. Okay, and this will be converted into an integer. How do you know it? Just type function and see it has converted a string 3 into an integer 3. Okay. Similarly, you can use the float function and convert an integer into float. Okay. You can also convert a string into float like this. Okay. You can also use string function and convert the integer into string. Now if you use type function, this numeric 1 will be converted into a string 1. Now let's go through some of the important numeric functions. It is not important to memorize all the functions, but you should know where to find them. So we can find some of the numeric functions in the built-in functions. So as explained before, you can use the dir command to find out all the built-in methods. Okay, so this is two underscores at the beginning and two underscores at the end. So as you see here, there are a lot of functions. You can start looking at the functions from ABS till end. Okay, all these are built-in functions. As soon as you log into your Python command, all these functions are available without importing any modules. Okay, so let us first go through a few of the functions. So what is ABS? ABS would return the absolute number of any number. So let's say ABS 10.5 to return 10.5. Even if it's ABS minus 10.5, it should return a positive 10.5. Okay, and let's see what is a max. So max will return the maximum of value of a sequence. So max is 30, and similarly mean. Okay, the range. The range is very important, and it is one of the uh, you know uh, mostly used functions in Python. Okay, so in the range function, you can give any range of values, and you can see the the range of values in the output. So now it will return a list. You have to use a list function to convert this output. So as you see here, it prints 10 to 19. So it will exclude the right side number. So let's say 20 minus 1. So it will print from 10 to 19. Okay, so this is very useful function. What you can do is just pass one number. Okay, and now it will print 0 to 9. Okay, also let's try this. Okay, so this is the starting number, this is the ending number, this is the step. So it does like 10, then plus to 12, then 14, 16, and like that. Okay, so this is very important functions to know. And also there is a function called power, POW. Okay, it's basically the power of something. Let's say 2 comma 3, so it will return 8. Also there is a function called round, which is also used in a lot of places. So 10.7, let's say, which is 11. Okay, so you can go through all these functions. We don't have time to cover each and every functions, but you can go through all these functions. There is function sum, zip also used, set is also used, slice, shortcut. I think everything is used, so try to go through all these functions. You can also find some other set of functions in a module called math. Okay, so first import the math module. So you can always import a module or a package using import command. So import math and give alias name as m. Okay, now use the dir command to find out all the functions present in the math module. As you see here, there are a lot of math functions here, starting with ecos, ecosh, all these are trigonometrical functions. Okay, let us go through a few of the functions like ceil. So ceil will return the ceil of any number. Let's 10.9 will return. So we have to call this functions using the alias m. Okay, m dot, as you see here, 11. And the reverse of ceil is floor. Okay, so the floor of this number is 10. Also there is a function square root, m dot square root, that's a 5. Okay, you can go through all these functions. And then lastly, there is one more function, one more module called random, which also contains many numeric functions. Okay, so let us import the module random and give alias as r. Now let's use the dir command to find out all the functions in this module. Okay, you see here there are a bunch of functions. Let's start with choice. Okay, there are a lot of functions, you can go through this. Let me cover a few of the functions. So the choice function, it chose a random element from a sequence. Okay, so let's use r alias, then choice. Okay, let us give a range of values, let's say range of 10 to 100, and it will print a random number from 10 to 100. Okay, and there is a function called random. The random function would choose a value in the interval of 0 to 1, and 1 is not excluded. Okay, so it is like this, 0 to 1. So this 1 is excluded. So let's use this function r dot random. It will not take any parameter. Okay, so in any time if you want to know the full implementation of any function, you can use the help command for the full documentation. So let's say r dot random. You get all these implementations. So what this function does, everything will get to know using the help command. Now let's see, like, there is one more important function called range. Okay, so it will choose a random item from a range, just like choice. But here you have to pass like two numbers. Let's say the starting number is, let's say 10, and the ending number is, let's say 50. And you can also give a step, let's say 5. So it will print a number starting with 10, ending with 50, and the step is 5. And give the alias name also, so 35. Okay, and there's one more important function called shuffle. Okay, so it will work on a list. We are going to read what is a list type, but list is something, it contains a list of elements. So let's say we have a list like this, and we can apply this function shuffle to shuffle the elements inside a list. Okay, so let's say r dot shuffle and pass the list. Okay, now if you see the list, the elements are changed. When we start with the list, the elements were like 1, 9, and 25. Now the index of these elements have changed to 9, 1, and 25.